is what's inside. You know everything comes and goes, no matter where you hide. I won't let you take everything that I deserve. Timing is the melody behind every word. So get it where you fit in, time to put it on the line. We're going head to head. Can you handle it? I'm bleeding till the last man standing. We're going head to head. Can you handle it? I'm taking you down. I'm taking you down. We're going head to head. Can you handle it? I'm bleeding till the last man standing. We're going head to head. Can you handle it? I'm taking you down. I'm the last man standing. I'm the last man standing. I'm the last man standing. Who's standing, taking you down? Now get the guns, the darts from my generation. I'll take the come on, come on, let's get it on. The money, we're in this together and through it all. They said that nothing's forever, and they refuse to see the change in me. Why won't they wake up?
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series heads to one of the most exciting tracks in all of NASCAR, and it plays host to one of the most exciting races of the season. The Bristol Night Race will play host to race 24 of the season, and as we inch closer and closer to the playoffs, who will be able to survive Thunder Valley and tame on the world's fastest half mile and lock themselves for a spot in the playoffs. Welcome to the NASCAR on MDK Pre-Race Show. I am your host, Jet Krause, and today I'm going to get you set and ready for tonight's night race at Bristol, the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race at Bristol. Let's get right into it with the news at the track, though. The first story is not that big of a deal, but it's still good to see sponsorship stay in the sport. Busch Beans announced that it has extended its partnership with JTG Doherty Racing as a primary sponsor for Chris Buescher and a secondary sponsor for AJ Allmendinger and Chris Buescher for the next few years. Now, obviously, the big stories coming into this was that Xfinity driver Elliott Sadler and 18 Cup Series winner, Kasey Kahne have announced that they will retire from NASCAR following this season. Both of them explained that they wanted to spend more time with their family and felt like the time was just right to step away from NASCAR. Kasey Kahne also said he wanted to work more on his sprint car team, who actually his driver Brad Sweet, if I'm not mistaken, won the Knoxville Nationals earlier this month. So obviously Kasey Kahne has a well-established sprint car team. Kasey Kahne, I believe, has been in the Cup Series since 2004, so more than almost 15 years he's been in this series. And Elliott Sadler has been in NASCAR for more than 2 decades. So clearly have had long and, again, well-established careers, so good luck to them in their future endeavors. Again, this is the time we live in. We're now in this period of time where we're seeing a transition of the torch, I guess you could say. A lot of drivers are now leaving. Stewart has left, Edwards gone, Gordon gone, Jr. gone, and now Kasey Kahne. I feel like I missed one driver. And, oh yeah, Elliott Sadler. But, yeah, it will be interesting to see how it plays out, because now you're going to look at the potential drivers or the free agents right now. Elliott Sadler, you see drivers like maybe Noah Gragson could take over if he wants to move into Xfinity, and Joki's Racing is not really letting them that much. Or maybe Jesse Little. Jesse Little has also been a rumor that he could take over that one machine next season, but again, these are all just rumors. Nothing is confirmed. But for the 95 car, they're actually thinking of maybe doing a manufacturer switch to Toyota and align themselves with Joe Gibbs Racing or with Toyota Racing Development, TRD. Now again, Kasey Kahne is just one of the few stories of silly season already in the works today, or this season. Here's a look at some of the drivers that are potential free agents. Jamie McMurray, in the one machine, he has not signed an extension with Chip Ganassi Racing beyond 2018. Trevor Bayne, who obviously has a contract that runs through 2019, but sources are saying that he has expected to be released. Ryan Newman and Matt DiBenedetto are another group of drivers that doesn't have extensive contracts. And then David Reagan and teammate Michael McDowell, both, neither have a contract extended. And then Kurt Busch is an interesting one. Sources are saying that he might leave the 41 car to maybe take over the one machine of Jamie McMurray, but again, all rumors, nothing confirmed. And Martrick Jr., which is the most surprising. The reason why he has not extended a contract yet is because Furniture Row is now looking for sponsorship. 5-Hour Energy announced earlier this month that they will leave NASCAR following this season. So that's a huge chunk of money that will be leaving Furniture Row Racing. And Barney Visser already said he does not want to sponsor his own company, Furniture Row, to fill in the spots that 5-Hour Energy will not be participating. So first they look for sponsorship, and when they do that, then they can decide Truex. But Truex said he has not ruled out that he could be looking for other teams. And yes, and speaking of the 41 ride, Casey Kane was talked to by Stewart-Haas Racing of maybe discussing of him taking over the 41 car. So there is a possibility Casey Kane could have replaced Kurt Busch, but obviously didn't want to. He wanted to retire and leave the sport. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how silly season plays out later on in the season, and end up who goes where. Now let's take a look at the track facts for Bristol Motor Speedway. It is one of I think the second track to only have the surface made completely out of concrete, 4 turns as usual, and of course it is half a mile, making it the world's fastest half mile. Banking in the turns 26 to 30 degrees, and banking in the straights 8 to 10 degrees. Stage 1, Stage 2 make up 125 laps, so Stage 3 make up 250 laps to make a combined total of 500 laps. 266.5 miles will make the distance for the Bristol night race. Now let's take a look at the chase grid after Michigan International Speedway, where Kevin Harvick took home, I believe, his 7th win of the season. Dominating performance by Kevin Harvick. He's now beating Kyle Busch by 5 playoff points, Kyle Busch has now 35 points in second. Mark Truex Jr. third with 27 points. Clinton Boyer in fourth. Chase Elliott, the newest first-time winner, with his win a couple weeks ago at Watkins Glen, in fifth. Joe Logano sixth, and then Eric Jones and Austin Dillon, both of them with 5 playoff points with their 1 win at Daytona. Kurt Busch, the highest driver without a win, 270 points above the cut line, in 9th. Brad Keselowski 10th, 229 points, with his teammate Ryan Blaney in 11th. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson 12th and 13th, Eric Almirola in 14th, and then Hendrick teammates Jimmy Johnson and Alex Bowman 15th and 16th. They take up the final spots. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., obviously the first driver out of the playoff, 62 points below the cut line. Paul Menard 8 points below that with 70. Daniel Suarez in 19th with 82 points below the cut line, and Ryan Newman 20th, 86 points below the cut line. And basically, this far into the season, Stenhouse, Menard, Stenhouse on back, they have to win in order to lock themselves into the playoffs. Bowman, even though he's not running good, he's running consistent. Stenhouse, this track could be Stenhouse only shot to maybe make it into the playoffs based off of a win. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out this race and the remaining 3 races. I mean, you got Bristol this week, which is a short track, half mile. Then you go to Darlington in 2 weeks, which is a mile. I don't know if it's a mile and a half, but it's just a whole nother dimension of a track. And then you end it off at Bristol with it's a flat 2 mile or 2.5 mile super speedway. So it'll be interesting to see how the playoffs roll out through the next 3 races and see who will be able to lock themselves in for this year's championship run. Now let's take a look at the odds to win the Bristol night race. Remember, this for entertainment purposes only. This source comes from the Vegas Insider. The odds to win this race. Obviously, no surprise with this one. The master at Bristol, 7-time winner Kyle Busch, tops the board with a 3-to-1 chance of winning. But not too far behind is the other Kyle Larson, with a 4-to-1 chance of winning, who won the Xfinity race last night. Kevin Harvick with the 2-time Bristol winner with a 17-to-4 chance. Mark Truex Jr. with a 10-to-1 chance. Brad Keselowski, the 2011 winner, with a 12-to-1 chance of winning. Denny Hamlin, the 2012 winner, with a 14-to-1 chance of winning, as well as Ryan Blaney, Clint Boyer, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, and Joe Logano, all of them with a 14-to-1 chance of winning. And then another 4th driver, Kurt Busch, with a 20-to-1 chance. I believe he's a 6-time winner at the track. Jimmy Johnson, a 2-time Bristol winner, with a 20-to-1 chance of winning. Eric Almirola with a 22-to-1 chance. Ricky Stenhouse with a 22-to-1 chance of winning. Bristol again, his best opportunity to try and maybe score a win and lock himself into the playoffs. Alex Bowman with a 40-to-1 chance of winning. Daniel Suarez with a 75-to-1 chance. And Jamie McMurray rounds out the field, or the also win field, with a 100-to-1 chance of winning. So we've talked about how Kyle Busch is the master at Bristol Motor Speedway in terms of practice, qualifying, race. Doesn't matter, he can tame it at any sort of situation. Well, Kyle did dominate qualifying, but it wasn't Kyle Busch, it was the other Kyle, Kyle Larson. He wins pole for tonight's event, and the driver to the outside of him completes the Chevy front row. Chase Elliott, the Watkins Glen winner, qualifies second. I believe it was 10,000ths of a second or 10/100ths of a second was the difference between second place and the pole. Kyle Busch, the master at Bristol, third on the grid. On the outside of him is a surprise, Paul Menard, qualifies fourth in the 21 machine. Rookie William Byron, a fantastic run, qualifies fifth, with two-time Bristol winner Kevin Harvick to the outside of him in sixth. Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola, Hamlin the 2012 winner in row 4, Kurt Busch, a six-time winner at Bristol, and Ryan Blaney in row 5. Row 6 has 2011 winner Brad Keselowski and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Jimmy Johnson, a two-time Bristol winner, and Eric Jones, a Daytona July winner. Row 8 has a couple of fours with David Reagan and Clint Boyer. Row 9 has Mark Truex Jr., who has not won at a short track yet. Right now, 0 for 75 races. He has a strong car and might be able to turn that around today. And outside of him is Daytona 500 champion Austin Dillon. Row 10 has Joe Logano, the 2015 winner, and Jimmy McMurray. Row 11 has Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman. Row 12 has the Ford of Trevor Bayne and the Chevrolet of Ryan Newman. Row 13 has AJ Allmendinger and Casey Kane entering in his final Bristol race tonight. Bubba Wallace and Chris Buescher, couple Chevrolets, make up row 14. Row 15 has Matt DiBenedetto, who finished 6th here in 2015, and Corey LaJoie. Row 16 has Michael McDowell and Ty Dillon. Row 17 has Jesse Little and JJ Yaley. And you see the rest of the six drivers on the grid. Row 18, Ross Chastain and Reed Sorensen. Row 19 has Timmy Hill and Greg Gaulding. Gaulding's teammate Landon Castle and Blake Jones rounds out the 40-car field. And the only driver that did not make the field, I forgot what his name was. I believe, BJ McLeod was the only driver to not make the field. I think that's actually the first time in a long time that there was the entry list was more than what was required. Usually you see maybe 37 drivers instead of 40. This time we had 41, so good. We actually had a bit of competition, I guess. I don't know, really. But it's nice to see that there's actually more than what is required, because that just shows you how big of an event this is, that, you know, an exceeded number of drivers wanted to be able to make this event. And now let's take a look at the 3 drivers that we're going to look out for at Bristol as we crunch the numbers. Kyle Busch has arguably gone down as one of the greatest drivers to tame the world's fastest half mile. Of his 26 races, he has scored 7 wins, including 2 weekend sweeps of the Trucks Xfinity Cup back in 2010 and last year in 2017. He has scored also 10 top 5s, 15 top 10s with an average start of 15.4 and an average finish of 14.04. He has led 2,232 laps led. That right there just gives you an idea of how amazing Kyle Busch is at Bristol, and could have a shot at getting his 8th win of his career. Now, Kevin Harvick is one of the big 3 drivers and is tackling on Kyle Busch to become a threat for this championship. He has a pretty good record at Bristol. Of his 35 races, he has scored 2 wins, 12 top 5s, 18 top 10s with an average start of 17.4 and an average finish of 13.26. He has only led 876 laps of his career. But the way his season has gone so far, just don't be surprised if you see Kevin Harvick could be possibly having a shot to get his 3rd win of the season at Thunder Valley. Now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for some reason has actually done pretty well at Bristol Motor Speedway. Of his 11 races, he hasn't scored a win, but he has scored 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s with an average start of 20.4 and an average finish of 10.18, which is the highest, or I guess the lowest, average finish so far of anyone at Bristol. But he has not led a single lap. However, he did run well in the spring, finished inside the top 5. So watch out for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to possibly become a dark horse and a threat to maybe take home the win at Bristol. Now let's take a look at a driver that I feel like is a dark horse for this race. Now we talked about Ricky Stenhouse, but we kind of expect him to run well at Bristol due to his past history for it. But a driver that I don't think anyone expected to run this well is William Byron in the 24 Liberty University Chevrolet. He has been pretty good so far in this practice, or in this weekend. 13th fastest in first practice, 17th fastest in second, but he qualified 5th. And obviously this track doesn't take that much. This track is not really about aero, it's more about driver skills. So the fact that Byron finished 5th, qualified 5th, shows that he might have a pretty good race car. And obviously the 24 car the past few weeks has improved exponentially in all different types of race tracks. Mile and a halves, 2 mile tracks, the road course, doesn't matter. They have improved tremendously. So William Byron could have a good run today, but obviously his career stats are not up to par. Obviously, we're going to count trucks and Xfinity and his one career start at Cup. 4 races, 0 wins, only 1 top 5 and 1 top 10, and that was on the trucks. And he has only led 1 lap, an average start of 10.25 with an average finish though of 9.75. Again, those are based off of trucks, Xfinity, and his one race in Cup. Now let's look at my Fantasy Live lineup for Bristol Motor Speedway. Again, okay, this lineup should not be surprised. Obviously, I'm going to go with Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson should not be surprising, as well as Chase Elliott. But I'm going to go with Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, I feel like, might be a bit of a sleeper, just that can quietly move his way up. I believe he qualified inside the top 10, so he has a pretty good race car, and he has a pretty good record at Bristol Motor Speedway, having the 2nd most wins at the track in terms of active drivers. And in the garage, again, I have Byron. I just feel like he can be a driver that will just sneak his way in, quite possibly might have a good run. Stage 1, I believe, will go to Kyle Larson. I think it'll be the Kyle and Kyle show. Busch and Larson will duke it out. Busch will win stage 2, but in the end, I feel like the youngster of Kyle Larson will beat out Kyle Busch, and it could happen in a revenge situation on what took place in the spring, where Kyle Busch put the bumper to Larson with 2 to go to win the spring race, so which will make Chevrolet the winning manufacturer. So yeah, I feel like in terms of a revenge situation, we could see Busch leading, and Larson might do the same tactic that Kyle Busch did to him in the spring. Those you don't remember, in the spring of 2018, like I said, with 2 laps to go, Kyle Busch put the bumper to Larson, moved Larson up the track, and Busch went on to win the race with Larson finishing in 2nd. So, thank you so much for watching the NASCAR on MDK pre-race show from Bristol Motor Speedway. But before I leave, I have a big announcement to make. This Thursday, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday, I will be on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. I believe it was on Danny B Talks channel or on the Iceberg channel. To look at, there will be a graphic on screen for you guys to check it out. If you guys don't know, the Weekly Podcast is just a group of guys: Danny B Talks, Black Flags Matter, Erica Stebor, Double E Dud, and the Iceberg. They go in and just talk about NASCAR, what has happened over the weekend, the news that is going around, and they look on to the next race, which will be Darlington. I will be guest starring, as well as Cody H Gaming. So if you guys want to, you can come and check out, say hi, and yeah, it'll be cool to see you guys there. But until next time, I'm Jake Rouse from NASCAR on MDK and from MDK Racing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the night race at Bristol Motor Speedway. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video.